You're listening to PetLifeRadio.com.
Oh Behave is brought to you by Swipe It. Literally swipes away cat hair from virtually any surface. Go to swipeits.com. SWIPETS.com.
It's Oh Behave with Arden Moore, the show that teaches you how to have harmony in the household with your pets. Join Arden as she travels coast to coast to help millions better understand why cats and dogs do what they do. Get the latest scoop on famous faces, their perfectly pampered pets, and who's walking who in Rin Tin Tinseltown. From famous pet experts and best-selling authors to television and movie stars, you'll get the latest buzz from wagging tongues and tails. Garner great pet tips and have a doggone fur-flying fun time. So get ready for the pause and applause as we unleash your Oh Behave host, America's pet edutainer, Arden Moore.
Welcome to the Oh Behave Show on Pet Life Radio. I'm your host, Arden Moore. Our special guest today delivers babies as a board-certified obstetrician and gynecologist, but he also delivers hope and a can-do spirit to people of all ages through a series of his popular books. And I can say for the first time on my show, I can actually declare, yes, there is a doctor in the house. So I want everybody to give pause and applause to Dr. Udo Wahn. Hey, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you so much for having me, Arden. Looking forward to it.
Well, I can't say that you delivered me, but, you know, you will deliver some good message points on the show, right?
You bet I will. I'm looking forward to it.
Now, the Good Doctor has going to unleash some possum children books that focus on manatees, canine surfers, coral reef explorers. Oh, man, just a lot much more. So before we dive in, we're going to have to take a quick commercial break. So everybody, please just sit and stay. We'll be right back.
Time for a pause. 4 furry ones, actually. Sit and stay. Oh Behave will be right back.
Pause up. I'm Arden Moore, and I'm here to tell you about a revolutionary new product that literally swipes away cat hair from virtually any surface. You know, most of us struggle with a roller or vacuum cleaner to clean up cat hair, but anyone who has tried either of these knows they just don't work very well. But Swipe It's patent-pending glove has a magnetic-like quality that removes cat hair from almost everything. Right, Ziki? Right, Murphy? And best of all, Swipe It is machine washable, so you can use it over and over again. To order, just visit swipeits.com. That's SWIPETS. A simple solution for shedding.
Let's talk pets on PetLifeRadio.com. Oh Behave is back with more tail-wagging ways to achieve harmony in the household with your pets. Now, back to your fetching host, America's pet edutainer, Arden Moore.
Welcome back to the Oh Behave Show on Pet Life Radio. I'm your host, Arden Moore. Our special guest is Dr. Udo Wahn. He's a medical doctor. Specifically, he is a board-certified obstetrician and gynecologist who practices in San Diego. But away from the delivery room, he is an accomplished author, surfer, and I think an all-around cool guy. I first met Udo at a dog surfing event in Del Mar, and it was where my dog Cleo and I were competing. We're part of the SoCal Surf Dog team. And I got to say, when I met you, Udo, I thought the handshake was magical. You have kind of a spirit of good about you.
Well, thank you so much for that. I try to live my life with the aloha spirit, and by that I mean sharing, being kind, and living in harmony with the environment.
Well, you just teed it up perfectly because in your children's books, which are perfectly suited for all ages, you always pose this question, and it's on your website too. Are you living aloha? So can you expand upon that?
Right. As I was alluding to, Hawaiians really started this. Aloha means a lot more than just hello and goodbye. It really embodies a way of life. And as I was saying, it means sharing, being kind to one another, love, and also respecting and caring for the environment.
Well, I think we all need a dose of aloha these days. Can I have a double dose, please?
Okay, there you go.
All right. Oh, I feel it. Splash down like a wave. Now, we had a little fun trying to get the good doctor to find a time that we could get him on our show, listeners. He has a really, the best excuse ever. Tell us what you did this morning before you came on the air.
Well, I was over at the hospital on a labor and delivery service, and it turned out there were 3 women that were going to have babies, and I decided that what I would do is jump in there and deliver those babies, and one of the moms had twins, so there was 4 babies in the morning alone.
Wow. Most of us are just really excited if we can push a vacuum around or maybe get one of our to-do things done. You checked off 4 babies in the morning. Done. Gone. Delivered, right?
Yes, and I made it back home in time to have a quick bite to eat and be on the show.
Oh, my gosh. So I got to ask, boys, girls, what did you have?
Oh, gosh, there were the twins were a couple boys. Then we had a couple girls in there. So it was very well represented, boys and girls.
Nice, nice. What is it about being a baby doc that really, you could be any kind of doctor. What made you chose the path of obstetrician and / my favorite, gynecologist?
Well, it's really, for the most part, it's a very upbeat specialty. You're helping people. It's a very joyous occasion, bringing life into the world. And it's really rare when things aren't going well or some of the other issues that women may run into. But by and large, it's a happy, upbeat specialty. And I look forward to taking care of people that have an acute problem, fix it, and then move on. Some of the other specialties are a bit more chronic in terms of the illnesses. That's a little bit more challenging for my personality type.
Where do you come from? Let's roll back the video. You are just a little guy yourself right now. Where do you hail from?
Well, I actually grew up on Long Island, New York.
Really?
Yes. I grew up
that would not have been my guess.
Well, it's interesting. I actually grew up along the Great South Bay, which divides Long Island from Fire Island, one of the most beautiful barrier beaches in the world on the Atlantic Ocean. And so I've always grown up by the sea, and I've committed myself to always being near the sea no matter what. And I actually did try surfing when I was there at age 17, but I managed to cut myself with the fin the first time, and I said, well, maybe this is going to have to wait a while. So out to California I came, and my buddies that I got to know were all surfers, and they taught me how to surf, and they taught me how to talk. And by that I mean I had a New York accent, and I had to drop that to be proper in the lineup. Can't speak like a New Yorker out there, right?
No.
At least according to my friends.
But I think it sounds like you could be like a honorary Hawaiian, though, by the way you live your life.
Well, somewhat like an ambassador, I guess, huh? Ambassador of Aloha, or a Dr. Aloha, or Doc Aloha, or something like that, right?
I can see you going on GoDaddy right now, grabbing those URLs. Go for them. Go. Everybody else, leave him alone. They're for him.
Well, here's something kind of funny. Actually, my license plate says I for Aloha. So I'm trying to spread aloha one book at a time.
All right. And speaking of books, you don't have just one book. You have 4 books, and I want to run down the titles quickly, and then we're going to talk a little bit about them. His books are Cabo and Coral Go Surfing. Cabo and Coral.
5 books. Mm-hmm.
Oh, what's that one? Yeah, there is. Cabo and Coral's Secret Surf Spot. Cabo and Coral's Reef Explorers. For the sake of Hugh, a manatee. Now, folks, I thought I was good with puns, but it's Hugh and then manatee. And my personal favorite, Cabo and Coral Dog Days of Summer. So let's just dive right in. You are a very busy medical doctor. You want to do good things. And when did you say, I think I'm going to write some children's books?
Well, I never thought in my wildest dreams that I would end up doing this, to be honest with you. But our son, whose name is Paulo Cabo, so Cabo's his middle name.
Right.
Yeah, he had been taking swimming lessons here at one of the local swimming centers, and he's about 2.5 years old. And we came home one day, and my wife was away, and he and I were alone. We had some pieces of paper, and we decided to do some sketches. And I thought to myself, how cool would it be, since I've been an avid surfer most of my life, to inspire him, my son Paulo Cabo, to take on the challenge of the ocean, and also to learn about the aloha spirit out in the water. Some surfing etiquette, the ocean safety is really important. So, well, throughout the day, we just started doing some sketches, and I thought, well, let's have Paulo and one of his girlfriends from the swim school surfing on a wave with a couple of dolphins. How fun would that be? And it was just meant to be a sketch at that point. And along with it came some stories and other messages. And throughout the day, I kept sketching different images and connecting them with the stories, little sound bites I wanted him to take away.
How old was he at the time?
Just 2.5.
Oh, my gosh. He's a Doogie Howser in the making. Okay.
Well, he's 9 now.
Okay.
Yep. So that's how I started. I showed my sketches and the storyline to some of my friends and said, wow, this would be a really cool book. And I said, well, that'd be cool, but I've got to find someone to draw these things. So hooked up with an illustrator, and the next thing you know, I ended up with a book that was a real hit. The surfing community loved it. Children and parents, teachers really liked it for all the sound messages that were in there, with environmental messages about keeping our beach clean and listening to the lifeguards and that sort of thing.
Well, on your website, it is called caboandcoral.com, and that's spelled C-A-B-O and C-O-R-A-L. I like how you've done it. You've got the dude and the diva, so you and some of the illustrators, you got the book, the stroke, and I mean, some of these folks that are great and knowledgeable in the world of surfing. C.J. Hobgood wrote, "Surfing is a great lifestyle. This book will get the kids stoked." I can say that because I live in California now. But you are getting a lot of praise from people. I mean, it just seemed like it just was something, a father-son little afternoon together that turned out to be something, a stroke of genius.
It's just amazing to me how it all evolved, and how over the last 6 or 7 years this has just turned into just a really fun series of books, getting the message out about the environment. Something that actually, when I was a youngster, in high school, I was very interested in the ocean to begin with, and the bay. And my biology teacher noticed my interest in actually having to do some special projects. For example, testing the waters of the Great South Bay for pollution. So I'm kind of gone full circle all the way back to now being more of an environmental activist with these books.
All right. Well, folks, we're speaking to Dr. Udo Wahn. He is the author of many books on the environment. He is Aloha with a capital A. And we're going to dive in and learn a little bit more about a couple of the books after we take this quick commercial break. So everybody just sit and stay. We'll be right back.
Time for a walk on the red carpet, of course. All Behave will be back in a flash right after these messages.
Pause up. I'm Arden Moore, and I'm here to tell you about a revolutionary new product that literally wipes away cat hair from virtually any surface. Most of us struggle with a roller or vacuum cleaner to clean up cat hair, but anyone who has tried either of these knows they just don't work very well. But Swipe It's patent pending glove has a magnetic-like quality that removes cat hair from almost everything. Right, Ziki? Right, Murphy? And best of all, Swipe It is machine washable, so you can use it over and over again. To order, just visit swipeits.com. That's SWIPETS. A simple solution for shedding.
Let's talk pets.
Let's talk pets
On Pet Life Radio.
Pet Life Radio.
PetLifeRadio.com.
Hi, this is Ed Woods of Swampman on Nat Geo Wild. You're listening to Arden Moore on Oh Behave Show on Pet Life Radio.
We're back from the lot. Just checked the paper and we had a record showing at the box. The letterbox, that is. Now back to Oh Behave. Here's Arden.
Welcome back to the Oh Behave Show on Pet Life Radio. I'm your host, Arden Moore. I have a new friend in the making. He is Dr. Udo Wahn. He is an obstetrician and gynecologist. He delivers babies, but he also delivers great messages in a number of his books. And I believe we're going to actually have you sign a few to give away in our next newsletter on Pet Life Radio, right? Good, doctor?
You betcha. I'm so looking forward to that.
So what we need you guys to do is you just need to, we'll figure it out, but anybody who writes to Arden at Four-Legged Life and does the subject header Aloha Books, they will be in the running for one of these autographed copies, and we'll get your information. We'll send it to Dr. Udo, and you will be able to send them out personalized copies, if you will.
Yes, I will. I'll sign the copies and get them out to you.
In the meantime, this is a great idea for the holidays. I do want folks to go over to caboandcoral.com. You're going to see all the books that are available. And one of the ones of particular interest is the Cabo and Coral Dog Days of Summer. It does feature, you kind of feature some real-life surfing dogs, including Ricochet. So can you tell us a little bit about that book?
Well, I'd be happy to. You know, the dog on the cover does look a lot like Ricochet, but it wasn't really meant to look like Ricochet necessarily. My illustrator, the wonderful Jennifer Belote, who was one of Wyland's Ocean Artist Society members, came up with, he just, painted the dog that way. And then when I looked at it, I go, my gosh, that looks just like Ricochet, the surf dog. But anyway, the book is one that is just really a heartwarming tale, if you will, pun intended, about overcoming disabilities, the virtue in rescuing animals, and again, the Aloha spirit is also presented in the book, which permeates all of my Cabo and Coral books.
Well, you got a big shout out from Ricochet's mom. That's Judy Furdano. I checked out on her Facebook. She calls you a friend. That's Furiend. And, she's pretty influential in the world of dogs. For the three people that don't know who surf dog Ricochet is, she is actually a service dog, but she spells it Surfice. This was a dog that was trained to be one of the traditional service dogs, just could not find the stop button to chase birds, and was not able to make through the training. But Judy Furdano is a dog trainer and realized that Ricochet's real goal, mission in life is to surf. And this dog has surfed with kids that have had physical and mental disabilities. She's an amazing surf dog, but I think more amazing is the money that she raises for charities that you also raise money for, Udo, such as the Helen Woodward Animal Center.
That's correct. It's just a wonderful no-kill shelter in San Diego County. I just love the folks there, and they've got a great club pet, too, if you ever need a place to have your pet boarded.
Yeah, and we've had Mike Arms on our show a couple of times. He's one of my buddies. I like him very much as well. But she said on this thing, the book is about two young kids who organize a doggy surf contest and get shelter rescue dogs to participate. It teaches kids about caring for animals and giving back to the community. So you already got paws up praise from Judy and Ricochet.
Oh, man, that is wonderful. Yeah, and I'm so grateful to Judy and Ricochet. That dog is just an amazing dog. Yeah, the story is kind of fun because Cabo and Coral did not, have any dogs, and they were but the dogs must be getting kind of bored chasing tennis balls along the beach all the time, day after day. And the parents had told them, well, if they got grades, kept the room clean and things like that, they would be able to rescue a couple animals. They taught them to surf, and so throughout the story, they actually learn how to surf, and there you go.
Have you ever surfed with a dog before?
I have been in the water with a surfing dog, but not on the board myself with a surfing dog, no.
Is it on your bucket list?
Oh, of course it is. Yes, it is.
Well, maybe Ricochet will help you out. I've ridden waves with her. She's quite generous and helps you go through the waves. So I think it would be fun to see you on board us. You can surf with my little one, Cleo, anytime.
Well, that would be great. I live right here in Del Mar, where we have the Helen Woodward Del Mar Surf Dogathon every September, so there's no reason why I shouldn't be able to do that.
All right, well, we're going to make it happen, okay?
All right, sounds good.
Now, you shifted gears with your latest book. This one is called For the Sake of Humanity. Now, I said that right, and you co-authored this with Pete Hogston. So tell us a little bit about this one, because this one has a couple other characters. Maddie is the star of this book, isn't she?
Yes, she is. And so Pete Hodgson, who lives on the North Shore of Hawaii, he's a GoPro videographer and photographer, and he had a basic idea about a children's book and some fun characters, but he didn't feel like he could write a children's book. And so we kind of got hooked up together, and he's also friends with Kaisa James, who lives in Dana Point, California. And he was excited to share with Kaisa that he had found someone to write a children's book. Well, Kaisa James has a little daughter. Her name is Maddie. Back when she was age 5 years old, she unfortunately developed a brain tumor and was unable to beat it. She ended up dying of her brain tumor within 8 weeks of diagnosis.
Oh my gosh!
Yes, and they live in Dana Point, California, and it's right where the Ocean Institute is. It's a very nice center, the educational center. And Maddie loved to go to the ocean. And so Maddie's mom and dad, Kaisa and Colin James, they were able to, by a fundraising, raise over $1 million to get the naming rights for what was going to be built, and that is the Maddie James Seaside Learning Center at the Ocean Institute in Dana Point. Just an amazing accomplishment to be able to do that in a place where Maddie will always be remembered and her love of the ocean. So that's what we're doing. We're giving a large portion of the proceeds from the sale of this book to help support the Maddie James Seaside Learning Center. And we've even gotten Wahn, the ocean artist and conservationist, to get on board with us. He wrote a wonderful foreword to the book and gave us a very nice quote for the cover as well. We've had a number of championship surfers and stand-up paddlers give us a thumbs up. Kelly Slater, Candace Appleby, Taylor Jensen, surf legend Linda Benson, to name just a few of our very strong supporters.
Well, the illustrations are wonderful. It's a Ron Croce. Is that the right pronunciation? I always give shout-outs to any author or illustrator. But Weiland did say Maddie James continues to cast a spell on all of us about her dream to save the oceans. And Kelly Slater, who's an 11-time world champion surfer, declared after reading your book, it's just easy. This is a surfer talk. This is great. Period. Says it all. So, folks, I want you to please check out, you can go to caboandcoral.com, but you can also go to forhumanity.com. That's FORHUGH manatee.com. You know, Christmas is coming. The New Year is coming. We have a lot of kids that love to read. I think these books are going to inspire them, and they're written from the heart. And I used to live in Florida, Udo, and I had a manatee license plate. I was a hotshot investigative reporter, but those sea cows won me over. What's your take on manatees?
You know, manatees are just these big, cuddly creatures that are just so wonderful and so graceful in the water. And unfortunately, they're an endangered species. There have been so many that have been dying. And part of the lessons in the book are that, you know, the watershed, places that are distant from the ocean, do run into the ocean and affect the ocean and the sea life. And manatees, for one, are affected when their seagrass becomes covered with, for example, a red algae bloom. This can sicken the manatees. That's one of the problems they have, but they also have problems with odors, getting caught up with propellers going over them and scarring, and sometimes even taking off some of their flippers, for example. These are some
because they don't move very fast, and they're seeking warm water, right?
Exactly.
So the harbors are almost beckoning them, unfortunately.
Right, and places where they have power plants, the warm water that comes out of the power plants is a perfect place where the manatees will go, especially right around this time of year. They'll start heading up the rivers to go there.
Well, we hope with this book, for the sake of humanity, that we're able to help spread the message about manatees, but also carry on the legacy of little Maddie. That just breaks my heart, but for her parents to be able to think of something in a positive way to cope with the loss of their daughter, it's beyond words.
It is. It's a wonderful thing that they've done to have her daughter remembered and to teach children that may never have otherwise an opportunity to see the ocean, get brought into the center where they can have a hands-on experience with the ocean and what's happening there.
Now, besides being a medical doctor and delivering babies and being an author, you do things. You are a pretty active member of the Core Surfrider Foundation, and tell me a little bit about that group.
Well, Surfrider Foundation is just an amazing group. They're dedicated to protecting our oceans, beaches, and waves for everybody's enjoyment, being sure that people have a public access to the beach and that water quality stays good. They do testing of the waters along the ocean, and they do this through conservation, activism, research, and education, and that's kind of how they go about it. They started back in 1984 up in Malibu Beach. It's called Surfrider Beach. For the longest time, I didn't realize that that's where Surfrider came from, but it's Surfrider Beach. It's not because you have to be a surf rider, per se.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
In this group, this foundation, kids are real integral to this because aren't you teaching them about beach cleanup and not to be walking and dancing on the coral reefs when they're snorkeling and other things?
Yes, you bet. There are a lot of beach cleanups that are organized throughout the month at different beaches. At any of the Surfrider chapters, there are about 60 chapters throughout the world actually. It's not just limited to the United States. But we have a very, very big chapter here in San Diego, and there are a lot of beach cleanups and programs for children to teach them about the environment and beach cleanliness, for example.
Now, before we get you off the air, this is Oh Behave. So you got a couple of four-leggers, right? Hunter and Diablo?
Yes, well, Hunter and Diablo, we had them for a number of years, but recently they both passed on.
Okay.
They do have cameo appearances in some of the books.
So tell me about them, because they basically sort of grew up with your son, right?
Yeah, well, we had Hunter and Diablo before our son, and I distinctly remember that when Paolo was born, we were told that it's not a bad idea to bring the blanket that wraps your baby home before you even bring the baby, and so that your dogs can smell the scent of this new person that's going to be coming into the house. And so, Paolo was just a little baby, and he had a number of good years with the dogs as he was growing up. And so that was a really good experience. They're both very gentle dogs. Hunter is a golden retriever, and our Diablo is a black lab.
Do you pass on some of this doggy advice to some of the new moms and dads when they may tell you they have a dog or two at home and they're having their first baby?
Yes, I do. As a matter of fact, I do. I tell them what I did and what I understood was a good thing to do. And that is
all right. I am delighted that we could finally get you on the air in between delivering babies. Our special guest today has been Dr. Udo Wahn. He's out of San Diego. I want you all to go to caboandcoral.com. You're going to see all his books. And please email Arden at Four-Legged Life with I think we had the subject header Aloha books, right? And we'll send those names, and he's going to give away a few copies autographed of his amazing books. These are great books that are not only good for the holiday season, but year-round, because they give such good messages. And before we say goodbye and you deliver your fifth baby of the day, Dr. Udo, any parting words you want to say to our listeners?
Well, I really want to thank you all for listening and for having me on the show, and to remember to live aloha. And again, that means to share, to be kind, to live in harmony with the environment, and share your love with others.
Well, it's an honor to have you on the show and on the planet for not only us two-leggers, but for all the beautiful living beings that are on land and in the sea. So I'm glad you could make it. I'm glad we got our schedules finally in sync.
Well, thank you.
And I also at this time want to give a big shout out to our producer, Mark Winter. He makes this show happen each and every week. And folks, we are 800,000 strong on this show, just on Pet Life Radio's network. But we are growing, because we are now partnered with iHeartRadio. So check us out. We have many ways to listen to our show and all the other great hosts on the other shows, all part of Pet Life Radio Network. It is the best, number one pet network on the planet. I just like saying all those P's. So until next time, this is your flea-free host, Arden Moore, delivering just 2 words to all you 2, 3, and 4-leggers out there. Oh, behave.
Coast to coast and around the world, it's Oh Behave with Arden Moore. Find out why cats and dogs do the things they do, and get the latest buzz from wagging tongues and tails in Rin Tin Tinseltown. From famous pet experts and best-selling authors to television and movie stars, you'll get great tail-wagging pet tips and have a fur-flying fun time. All Behave with America's pet edutainer, Arden Moore. Every week on demand, only on PetLifeRadio.com.